Hello and welcome to Dancentralz News. Today on Dancentralz News, Steam reaches 8 million users. That is a fantastic achievement for Steam. Not used Steam myself personally, mainly because I've been using Mac for a good number of years and I know a lot of it's PC based, but I am looking to get a PC laptop at some point, so we'll be looking into Steam as soon as I get a laptop on PC, and we'll be looking to see what it's all about. I've only ever heard good things about it. A lot of my friends are addicted to the sales that it's got on as well, so looking forward to seeing what Steam's all about. But congratulations as well for reaching 8 million users. Fantastic achievement. Next bit of news, there have been some rumours going around that people have been saying that there's going to be a new Crash Bandicoot game being released on PS4 and potentially Xbox One. Through doing some research, it looks like that unfortunately this isn't the case, and that at least at the moment there isn't going to be a new Crash Bandicoot film. Sad times, especially to myself as well as a Crash Bandicoot fan, but it looks like we're not going to be having a new Crash Bandicoot film, at least not at the moment. Someone tweeted Naughty Dog and Activision support, and Activision support got back to the person and said, "We do not have info regarding future or unreleased titles. Thank you for your interest." So at the moment, fortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to be having one, but me personally, come on Naughty Dog, release a new Crash Bandicoot game. Come on, where's the franchise been for the past so many years? They're missing out on a trick there. They could do so much with a Crash Bandicoot game on the new technology that we've got now and on the PS4 and the Xbox One. They are missing out big time on a huge a huge gap there that they could be filling. There's so much potential there, and I just think that they really are missing out, and it would just be mad not to have a new Crash Bandicoot game on a current gen console. So come on Naughty Dog, pull your finger out and give us a Crash Bandicoot game. Next bit of news, everybody. There's been confirmation from Nintendo now that we're going to be getting the first Legend of Zelda game on the Wii U. Fantastic news for Zelda fans obviously out there. We've just had news that we're going to be getting a game called Hyrule Warriors, but obviously it's not an actual Legend of Zelda game, so we're going to be getting one in 2015. Not only that, Nintendo has also stated that it's going to be giving the player the freedom of choice. So rather than giving the player a set path to follow like in earlier Zelda games, you've now got a freedom of choice, so you can go wherever you want to, whenever you want to. You've now got free reign of the game. That is absolutely brilliant. Love that idea. I've played a few Zelda games in my time, and I'm really therefore looking forward to seeing how this game pans out and what it looks like when it does get released next year. Nice one, Nintendo. Looking forward to seeing what the game's like. Now moving into film-related news, some of which do have relevance to games as well. Next year we're going to be getting Jurassic World, the brand new Jurassic Park film. Obviously, Jurassic Park's an absolutely amazing set of films anyway. Big fan of the first three. Love the music as well. John Williams is an absolute master. But we're going to be getting a brand new Jurassic Park film next year that they're calling Jurassic World. Whether or not it's going to be part of the first three films or it's going to be slightly different and separate remains to be seen. But we're going to be getting a new Jurassic Park film next year that they're calling Jurassic World. Can't wait for that. I'll be straight in the cinemas as soon as it's released. We're also getting a new Terminator film that they're calling Terminator Genesis. This is going to be starring, obviously, Arnold Schwarzenegger. If it wasn't, there'd be no point in having a Terminator film coming out. So we're going to be having Arnie back again, and just really intrigued to see what the film's like. Love the first three again, so really excited about the new one coming out next year, and hopefully it'll be great, and it will fit in with the other three quite nicely. We're also getting a Taken 3. Now, I'm a massive fan of the first two. I think Liam Neeson did a cracking job with the first two films. Really like the car chase scene in the second film as well. I just think the storyline was great. The plot was really well done. It was quite smooth, how the whole film played out. And I was just really impressed by both of them. Some people have said they loved the films and some people haven't been too impressed by them. I really was, though. I thought they were great. I thought Liam Neeson did a fantastic job, and I can't wait for the third film to come out, really, having seen the first two. So looking forward to Taken 3 next year. We're also getting a new Poltergeist film. It's going to be a remake of the classic film. They're going to be reimagining it, and with the technology that we've got nowadays, they're going to be using that to their advantage to create a reboot of the classic Poltergeist film. Great news. I think it's a good idea, as long as they don't mess it up. I think it will be something that's going to really be quite impressive, as long as they take a lot of care and they take a lot of time over it, and do the original justice and don't ruin it, then I'm all for it, really. Being a fan of paranormal style films anyway, and thriller films, I'm really interested in seeing what they do with it. But yeah, as long as they don't mess it up and ruin it, then I'm all for it. Looking forward to seeing, therefore, how it plays out and what it's like when they do release the remake of Poltergeist next year. Now into gaming films, we're going to be getting a final Resident Evil film in the franchise. They're calling it Resident Evil The Final Chapter. This is obviously coming out next year. I saw the first film, really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, didn't get around to seeing the other films. I should do, really. But really enjoyed the first, and obviously we're getting a final film as well next year. So I'm looking forward to that and seeing how that relates to obviously the games themselves. And finally, we're getting, with the great news we've had recently that we're getting an Assassin's Creed film next year, we're also now getting a Splinter Cell film next year as well. So for all you Splinter Cell fans out there, that's obviously going to be great news. Some inside information as well for you Splinter Cell fans. It's going to be directed by the same director who did the Bourne Identity film. That's Doug Liman. And Tom Hardy is going to be starring as Sam Fisher. So a little bit of inside knowledge there for you. But we're going to be getting a Splinter Cell film next year. So having played Splinter Cell Chaos Theory myself, really enjoyed it. And looking forward to see how they do justice with it when they bring out the film. And finally, not much news has been released, unfortunately, on the new Gears of War game, but there has been a little bit that's been released by the project boss, Rod Ferguson, that he said a few things about it. Been very cagey, and it's still under wraps, but there's a little bit of info that I can exclusively release on Dancentralz News. Now, Rod Ferguson has said, the project boss of the new game, that it's only been 100 days. I can't go into a lot of depth about a lot of things. This isn't going to be the place where I announce the name of the new game and all these sorts of things. Obviously, it's going to take some time to get to a point where we can do some stuff like that. So he's been very cagey at the minute because everything is still very early on. It's, you know, the game is still in its prototype stage. But he has mentioned a few things like that already. Now, obviously, Epic Games, you may know, sold the series to Microsoft at the start of the year. Now, that's an absolutely fantastic thing because it means, obviously, with Microsoft's financial backing, it means that now they'll be able to push further and do a lot more with the new game than they necessarily did in the first three and Judgment. So with Microsoft's backing now, financially, it's obviously going to be a fantastic thing then to really boost you know, the project and hopefully, you know, bring out one of the best games that we've had in the franchise yet, if not possibly even the best so far. Rod then went on to say as well that this means we're able to push a lot harder in a lot of bigger areas. The franchise can do a lot more now that Microsoft owns the IP. We can expand its breadth and do a lot more with it. So obviously, you know, there's a lot more they can do with it. I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, how they push the boundaries and really do, you know, go full force to impress the fans of the franchise and really bring out a fantastic game that is worth waiting for. Not a game like Call of Duty that has to come out every single year that people can get bored of. It's a game that gives you enough time between each release to, you know, to complete the previous game and really enjoy it and, you know, appreciate it for what it is before you then get the next release after that. That's what I love about Gears as well. So there we are, people. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Dancentralz. You've been brilliant. Hope you found the news interesting and it's shown some stuff that you didn't necessarily know about already. It's thanks to you guys that I'm doing another episode as well, because I was only meant to do the one episode originally, and then I had so many people asking me to keep the series going that before I knew it, I was doing another episode. I've now bought it inside because it looks a bit more watchable, I guess, rather than me walking around with the camera moving all over the shop. Looks a bit more newsy as well, like I'm in a studio. Yeah, yeah. Hope you enjoy it, and thank you very much for watching, people. And now, all that's left to do is to pass you over to our resident weatherman. What would be in the news without a weather forecast? I've got the awesome, the legendary, the freaking awesome dude, and that is Shockz16 in, and he is going to be doing the weather for us. So he's going to be doing it on each episode of Dancentralz News. So without further ado, I'll be passing over to our resident weatherman Shockz16 to go through with you guys what the weather is going to be like in your area. I've been Dancentralz, you've been brilliant, thank you very much for watching, and without further ado, it is over to Shockz16.
Good evening and welcome to the weather with me, Shockz16. Now, as we look over to the map, you will see that up in the north, Zelda has gone free roam, meaning that there is no set path for this weather, meaning that it could end up absolutely anywhere. And also, if we look down to the bottom of the map, you will see that in the southern regions, that there is a small development of Gears of War. However, this is only in the early development, so there's nothing to get excited about just yet. And also, let's not forget that small rumour of Crash Bandicoot coming in from the east there. Whether this will develop into something bigger is yet to be seen, so we'll keep our eye on that one. Now over to international weather, mainly Hollywood, where we see clouds forming of new movies. Some from the past, some from the future, and then some that also look quite interesting as well. Now as we look over to our humidity chart, you will see that Steam is on the rise to around the 8 million mark. So as a weather overview, look out for Zelda, Gears of War, new movies, a splash of Bandicoot, and of course that rise in Steam. And don't forget, whatever the weather this weekend, stay dry, stay warm and stay safe. Bye bye for now.